Welcome to lesson 52 of our interactive notes. Okay, so lesson 52, we're all the way at the bottom here. We're going to change decimals into fractions with denominators of 10 or 100. Pages 53 and 54. Alright, so here we go. We have our content objective, 4.NF. Sorry, I'm going to focus it there. 4, 4th grade, NF, numbers fractions, C6. I can use decimals to show fractions with denominators of 10 and 100. Language objective. I can use vocabulary related to fractions and decimals to explain how to change decimals into fractions. Social objective. I can work with others to create models to prove how to change decimals into fractions. Okay, you're going to want your highlighter, or your pencil can work as well. Remember to use pencil, not pen. We use pen only for adding to notes. I only use it because pencil's too light for the document camera. Alright, so here we're going to relate decimals and fractions. So here it says 62 hundredths, so I need to fill in 62 hundredths. So each column is 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 2. So as a fraction, it's 62 out of 100 squares. Now we could simplify this fraction because they're both even, but we're looking at how it relates to decimal, so we'll want to keep it with 100 in the denominator. So 62 hundredths, this is also 62 hundredths, this is the last digits in the hundreds place. So we would write it in word form as 60 hyphen 2. Numbers between 20 and 99 have hyphens between the tens place and the ones place. Those are the only ones. 62, and then we have hundreds. Sorry, there's not a lot of room. But it's 100, but TH, that THS means it's after the decimal as opposed to the hundreds place. Okay, this one is already shaded in for us. So our fraction here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. That could be simplified because they're both even, but we're going to keep it in this form. We have one placeholder underneath, so it's going to be one place after the decimal. We're going to put that placeholder there so we don't ignore the decimal. So 4/10, 4/10. This one we have much more room. 4/10, and that TH tells us that it's a decimal and not in the tens place. Okay, a mixed number. This one says in word form 1 and, so the and means a decimal, so 1 and decimal or fraction 86 hundredths. 86 hundredths. So 1, that would be this whole square right here, this whole flat. That's my one whole, the whole thing. So it's called a whole number because all the parts are there. And then 86. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 6. Okay, as a decimal, we have 1 whole and 86 hundredths. 2 placeholders, we'll move it over 2 places. So here again, we're going to look at different ways of writing the fractions and the decimals. If I have 35 hundredths, that means I have 3 tenths and 5 hundredths. As a fraction in fraction form, 35 hundredths, 100 is in the denominator. Decimal form, I would have 2 placeholders, so 2 places after. And I would put 35 in each of those places. The last digit goes in the last place. Okay, if I was looking at number discs, I have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So I'm breaking that up into 3/10. And then I would have, oops, that's a 1, sorry, 100th, 200ths. That's how that should have looked. 300ths, 400ths, 500ths. So 3/10 and 500ths. If I was looking at a number bond, which you'll become more familiar with as we get into our new math program, I can break this 35 hundredths into 3/10 and 5 hundredths. And then in our area model, we have 3/10, so a tenth would be the whole column. 1, 2, 3/10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. Okay, now we're going to look at our mixed number. We have 2 whole and 1/10. As a mixed number, we have 2 whole and 1/10. 1 place after the decimal will have 1 placeholder in the denominator. 2 placeholders after the decimal will give you 2 placeholders in the denominator. If I were looking at just tenths, I actually have 21 tenths. I can get 2 whole groups of 10 and I'm left with 1/10. So if I take those 2 whole and cut them into tenths, I have 21 of them. How many hundredths do I have? Well, there's 10 hundredths in each tenth. So to get 100, I multiply by 10. 21 multiplied by 10 is 210. So if I wanted to know how many dimes were in $2.10, there's 21 dimes. If I want to know how many pennies are in $2.10, there would be 210 pennies. All right, let's go ahead and continue with part 2 and our 3-column notes.